Lovely. I'm really excited about what's actually come out of my trip to Coorg. Wow, what a ride. I'm Kanika Goyal and I'm a fashion designer. I've come a long way since I launched my own label 4 years ago. Today, many celebrities, actors wear my label regularly. For me, inspiration is key to the creative process. For my latest design, I'm drawing inspiration from a recent trip to Coorg. A journey filled with terrific coffee, landscapes, people, a wedding and delicious food. Coorg, or Coorg as it is now known, has been on my bucket list for a while. It's located on the hills of the Western Ghats in Karnataka, and it's famous for its coffee and its scenic beauty. I've always been curious about the Kauravas, one of the main communities in Coorg, their food, the way of life, and of course their clothes. The one thing that I absolutely loved about Coorg was the color composition and the beautiful landscape. Every frame was so picture perfect. What I thought was the colors should be more on the earthy tones, but I also loved the red that's there in their sari.
And how are you going to vlog these colors on
I grew up in Chandigarh in a joint family. We were 17 of us. I was just too scared to put my point of view out there. Freedom of expression was something that was always a struggle for me. But that gradually changed when I moved to New Delhi. I was actually doing my undergraduate in National Institute of Fashion Technology. It's a very different kind of an environment. You move out of your comfort zone. After that, I did my further studies from Parsons and New School for Design in New York. And I think that just changed the whole perspective and just my entire life.
Should we use this fabric only or this color?
I think because this is the base layer, let's do this and also do a bit of a deconstructed approach towards it, wherein we can sort of have it suspended from the back cross and it comes, the back cross sort of. As I work on the design, I'm transported back to my journey to Coorg. I flew into Mangalore from Delhi, and that's where my trip to Coorg really started. I spotted this lovely fort-like structure a little way into the city. This is a watchtower built by Tipu Sultan in 1784. This is a good spot to keep a lookout for invaders coming in through the Arabian Sea. I decided to take the scenic route instead of heading straight to the Ghats. I stopped by at the beach, just sort of took in the view, just the beautiful sound of the ocean. I covered the sea and the hills in the same day, and I think that's so beautiful and surreal. I loved the curvy lanes that go up to the hills, and it was just so beautiful and green. I love to make stops on the way when I'm driving. I stopped by this small vendor selling sugarcane juice, and I think that was so refreshing. As I drew closer to Madikeri, the capital of Coorg, I was already charged up by the drive through the lovely greenery. I was looking forward to the many experiences that I was hoping would fill me with inspiration for my new design. Perhaps the first thing that comes to mind about Coorg is coffee. So this was the ideal start to my morning. You cannot come to Coorg and not visit a coffee estate.
Mr. Sampath, who works at the estate, gave me a guided tour.
So we walked through the estate and it was just beautiful. The colors that were there, you could see all the shades of green and blue with, these bursts of white in the cloud, and you can see the sunlight sort of peeking through all the leaves, so that also gives a very nice orange tinge to it. Mr. Sampath actually showed me the two varieties that grow here. There's Arabica and Robusta. So ये Robusta कब तक ripe होगा?
दिसंबर में इसका हार्वेस्ट दिसंबर में राइप हो जाएगा। अरेबिका रोबस्टा का डिफरेंट क्या मालूम है? अरेबिका का स्मॉल प्लांट आता है, उसका लीव्स छोटा आता है, उसका सीड्स बड़ा आता है, काफी सीड्स बड़ा आता है।
अच्छा।
अरेबिका माइल्ड होता है।
I learned that Arabica beans have a sweeter, softer taste with a sort of a fruity flavor. Robusta, however, has a stronger taste and it also has a higher caffeine content.
तो स्मॉल प्लांट है, प्लांट तो बड़ा रहेगा।
We usually have a cup of coffee and we never tend to think what's the flavor, how it grows, the whole harvesting process and the different varieties of coffee that are there.
I found out that coffee does best in the shade and there are other crops, often spices, that are grown alongside.
ये पेपर है, पेपर तो क्रीपर में आता है, रेडी नहीं हुआ एक्चुअली।
अच्छा, ऐसे भी यूज करते हैं किसी चीज में?
इसमें पिकल के लिए यूज करते हैं।
तो इसको अब क्या प्रोसेस है हार्वेस्टिंग के बाद क्या करते हो?
हार्वेस्टिंग करके इसको पूरा इसको निकाल के सेपरेट करके इसको सन ड्राई करते हैं।
In terms of the colors, definitely the Coorg landscape, the blue of the sky, which is a very nice, it's a very soothing blue. It's a very powdery, faded kind of a blue.
So much here to take cues from. The browns of the tree bark, I'm definitely going to use those. Let's see what else Coorg throws up. I'm Kanika Goyal, a designer. My recent trip to Coorg, meeting people, exploring culture, all formed a part of my search for creative inspiration for a new design.
So I'm in Madikeri. I'm heading to Mutama's house to have lunch with her and her family. And I'm really excited to know about the local culture, to taste some yummy food, and definitely see the clothes and the jewelry.
Like many others in Coorg, Mutama runs a homestay to cater to the huge tourist population in Madikeri.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Come.
Let's go.
This is my mommy, my mother-in-law.
Namaste, Auntie. How are you? Love what you're wearing. I've been really dying to see a typical Coorg sari, and I've finally seen it today, and you look extremely elegant. Can you just turn around for me? I really want to see the construction, the pleats that actually come on the back.
Yes.
Which is typical Korva attire main characteristic that's there.
Yes.
Muthu's mother-in-law actually educated me in terms of the whole history of Kauravas, about the whole myth behind the sari.
The story goes that Agastya Muni fell in love with goddess Kaveri. She was very beautiful.
I was told the story about a fight between sage Agastya and the river Kaveri, where she leaves him.
He would tell her.
During this conflict, her sari pleats get turned around to the back.
He would let her
And
go.
that's how the sari is worn here even today. I was of course dying to see some of the local jewelry. So Muthu brought out some of their family heirlooms.
This is the first piece, what we call patak.
Okay.
This is what is the Mangal Sutra.
What is this motif?
Do you see a snake head? It's a
Oh,
serpent. The Mangal Sutra is never given from the husband's family.
Okay.
It is always put on the bride on the eve of her wedding
Okay.
by the mother.
Okay.
It's a sign of fertility.
I absolutely loved the crescent-shaped pendant that was there.
We are inspired by nature,
Okay.
the elements like the moon and the sun.
Okay.
So the shape.
This is what I've been waiting to see.
Yes.
Because I've read so much about it.
And you again see the serpent.
I also learned a lot about their motifs that are very prominent. Like there was a snake motif that actually runs in multiple pieces. Then there was this one, like a double chain, gold and black, really bold, long chain that was there. And very contemporary actually.
Shall we go have some lunch?
Yes.
It's been served.
I really want to taste some local cuisine.
Thank you for helping. You don't have to. You can just sit down.
Come on.
Is that
The rice rotis. So the famous dish in Coorg is pandi curry.
pandi curry? Yes, I've heard so much about this.
Pandi curry.
Since I'm vegetarian, I was a little worried if there would be enough to eat in this primarily non-vegetarian cuisine.
That's a kutu curry, what we make here. It's a mixed vegetable curry. This is what we call terme topu. Okay. It grows wild. That's what we do here. We pretty much eat whatever is grown.
Ghee is an essential accompaniment to the meal.
I'm adding a little too much. I'm on a vacation. So for all the vegetarians, there's plenty of food for us here.
I learned so much from Muthu and her mother-in-law. The sari pleats at the back instead of the front, that was an amazing idea. I could almost see my new design starting to come together in my head.
So we're just gonna do the drape on the piece to see how the lines are gonna fall. The drape of the Korva sari was something that I've never seen before. How flattering it can look even when it's almost draped in the reverse, completely opposite direction was incredible. We're just gonna pin the sleeve now. I've just armhole seam inside, match the center point roughly. The whole idea behind this is to just see how the color block and the panel sort of work. We've incorporated those pleats specifically on the back, but we've used it in a very sort of a deconstructed manner where half of the pleats sort of come to the front panel also. So it just gives that sort of a flow to the garment. My design philosophy is actually a mix of elevated construction and tailoring combined with elements that authentically define now. I think freedom of expression and speech really holds a very strong ground in the whole brand ethos. That comes from a very personal space. ये मैंने markings किए हैं अभी सिर्फ waves की
जी
तो ये आपका front है
हाँ जी
I love geometry and the way lines sort of interact with each other and the drama that it creates. And I think also because I studied space and lifestyle design in NIFT.
It was a bit of a breakaway when I studied fashion. No one in my family had done this before.
My mother was always extremely supportive. My father supported me initially funding the business and everything, but he was sort of very unclear in terms of like, why aren't you mass producing? You're designing for such a niche segment and all of those questions. So I think that really changed after the Forbes list came out this year because I mean, he probably doesn't understand fashion, but he definitely understands what it is to be on the Forbes list.
Back in Coorg, I heard about this scenic spot alongside the Kaveri. So I headed out with my sketching staff, hoping to find some peace, but literally hit some bumps on the way out.
There were really tiny lanes, almost like the trees were brushing on the windows. I was thinking if we'll be able to maneuver through muddy patches, through those bumpy roads and everything. Wow, what a ride that was. I think I've not done much off-roading in my life, and this was definitely one of the most memorable experiences.
And the destination was so worth the journey. Wandered along the river for a while and then settled down to take in the view.
I get inspired by definitely a lot of things around me, and nature plays a very important role. When you see the light sort of peeking through the clouds and the kind of angles it creates when it falls on the ground, it's a very relaxing thing, honestly.
I needed to weave the story of what I saw into my design.
Looks good. That's a very good tone of balloon that's come out. So I think this is good for the outline of the sketch, right? So
Pleats will be beige now.
yeah. So let's just fill that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like a bit. Let's fill in the other colors and we'll see what color shade of the pleats do we want. The beauty, the landscapes, the clouds especially, and was so inspiring. And I think especially the Korva attire that's there, which is the pleats on the back for the women's saris, that's something that I am incorporating in my design. The colors that we've used for the coat that we've done, there's a powder blue, which is definitely from the sky, this very sort of a soothing blue. And then there's 2 shades of brown, which is more towards the lighter palette, you can say. It's very pleasant to look at. And then we've blocked it with a darker and a more deeper tone of maroon.
I'm really happy with how the design has shaped up. It's a coat dress which I'm making with wool for my fall-winter collection. And coats work well with my overall line. Now I needed to get my team to execute this perfectly. I love the process of an idea translating into reality.
I feel the thing about journey is that it's your own. You know, you're the master of it. You laugh a little, cry a little, dance a little on the way, but at the end of the day, you have no regrets because it's your personal, individualistic approach to life. I'm on my way to this wedding in the locality that Muthu told me about yesterday and super excited about it. I went to see the groom first. His brother actually gave me a lot of information about the whole wedding, rituals.
Normally it's once on a wedding and once in a deathbed we wear a white kind of a gown.
Okay.
And it is almost full sleeved all the time.
Okay. As a designer, I honestly felt like it was very royal. And I love the brocade sash that's on the waist. It's such a nice contrasting element that just lifts up the whole look because the whole look is actually monotone and the red and the gold just it's like in your face. Also the turban, it was this off-white gold color that really blended well with the whole look.
The groom also carries a small dagger in his sash, a symbol of the martial nature of this clan. I realized that many of the Korva ceremonies are presided over by family elders rather than a priest. Having checked out Sharan's clothes, I'm now dying to see the bride Shweta.
So why don't you tell us a bit about your jewelry first?
Jewelry, this is a traditional actually. If you want to know about this is half moon koketati, what we call as.
Okay. They have this one piece of jewelry which the groom and the bride both are wearing.
And this is a jomale. This is just a traditional jewelry which we are supposed to wear on this.
Loved that she was wearing this very pretty fuchsia pink sari.
This sari is called as buttu pudiya.
Okay.
Yeah, this is must and should. The buttu pudiya only we have to wear on this wedding.
I learned that most brides wear a veil with the dotted sari.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very much.
Through the ceremony with Shweta, I was mesmerized by the colors, the drape of the sari, and the brooches that all the women wore. And then I headed out because the groom's entourage had reached the gate. The groom's sister carried a pot on her head that is supposed to be filled with provisions to help with the wedding feast.
I think the most interesting part about the wedding was the banana stem cutting ceremony. It's almost like the groom is going to win a war and, get the bride.
There are 9 stems. 3 elders from the groom's maternal and paternal sides slash down 3 stems each. The wedding provided a happy end to my journey in Coorg. Many ideas that lead into my new design taking shape in Delhi. Lovely.
So we're doing our first trial. Do you want to take a turn for us a little? Yeah. I think Akanksha, the mesh pretty much looks good.
Just see this?
Yeah.
Just lift up your arm a little. Yeah, we just need to tack it a little here. And then even the armhole is a little excess.
Yeah.
But I like how the pleats are sort of falling. It blends well with the maroon. So,
The armhole, I
yeah,
think it's
armhole
just-
needs some
yeah.
fixing on her, for sure. But the colors look great. The blue especially. To me, inspiration is not about just going from point A to point B. It can be a mix of things that I get inspired by while I'm on the road. So I'm really excited about what's actually come out of my trip to Coorg. And it's a beautiful deconstructed coat that we've done. I love how the colors have come out together. It's very maximal in terms of the construction, but the whole appeal is very minimal. But I like it best because each element of the coat actually connects me back to my magical trip through Coorg.